The fear of today is the strength of tomorrow. You need fear to reach your full potential. The other side of this fear is what's gonna push you to the next level. It's one thing to just do something and not fear it at all, and it's another thing to fear something and still do it anyways. To push through. That is what makes you better. That's what separates the average from the non-average. It's not fearlessness. It's not fearlessness. It's the ability to push through that fear. And that, my friend, is courage. Courage ain't just climbing mountains just because, you ain't afraid of heights. It's about getting out of your comfort zone and climbing that mountain, even if you're scared, you scared you might die, you scared of, whatever. It could be an avalanche or, it's a lot of things that could go wrong and you fear it and you do it anyway. That is what builds character. It's one thing to just stand up to bullies just because that's how you was raised and that's what you naturally do. And it's another thing to stand up to a bully when you're afraid that he's gonna beat your head in or you're afraid that they'll report you to HR for whatever, or you're afraid they'll blackmail you. That's what really develops the spirit. It develops you to a place of self-awareness, a place of self-confidence, a place of, self-efficacy. Courage, the word courage means, how it translates from Latin. Core means heart, basically. Courage is how much heart you have in the face of adversity. And courage is built by taking small steps, taking little shots at, doing things that you're afraid of. It could mean starting your business or going up to your boss and asking for a raise or asking how you can get to the next position. It's getting past all the guilt trips, all the negative assumptions, all the things that keep you from acting, upon whatever it is you want to act upon. That takes courage. And courage comes by, like I said before in other videos, taking the small steps, taking the little actions, setting goals, setting small goals that have small fears and small hurdles to climb, and beating them, getting over that stuff. Like if you're socially anxious, challenge yourself to go into whatever restaurant you want to go into and order exactly what you want, not what they offer or what they suggest. Try to, challenge yourself. If they suggest something, politely say no. I'd rather have this instead. That's a social challenge. These little challenges, and you practice that every day. And then you work up to things like setting boundaries with people in your life. Like, hey, I really don't enjoy when you do this. You might be trembling inside, but you'll still be able to stand on what you believe because of the results that you've gotten in the past by doing the same thing. So, yeah, just courage. Build courage by taking small steps to overcome small fears and build it up. It's like working out, progressive overload. The more you work out, the stronger you get. But I want to destigmatize the idea that fear is something to be avoided. Fear is something to be shunned away, because it's not. You need fear to motivate you in a way. You need fear to tell you what you need to either confront or just stay away from. And when I say stay away from, I mean like mortal fears, like just eating random berries in the forest or something. Yeah, that's biological. That those fears are meant to keep you from doing extra stuff. But this is 2023. A lot of these fears are a lot of these fears are we misattribute them to other things. Like, we have a fear of, say we have a fear of setting boundaries with others because traditionally we needed to stay in the family unit to survive. We needed to stay in the tribe to survive, and if we were shunned or ostracized, that would lead to our starvation. So, a lot of fears can be conditioned out because of modern times, but we kept them with us. But back to my point of, destigmatizing fear. Sometimes fear is just excitement hidden behind doubt. And what I mean by that is we can be really excited about something but not know how to go about it, and so our mind creates an excuse or a reason not to do it. We it's like getting in the line for a roller coaster. You in line, you excited, you're like, oh man, but you getting butterflies in your stomach, like you scared, you you scared, you nervous, you think the worst could happen. What if they ain't strap me in right? What if they don't do this right? What if the regulations ain't up to code? You see all these videos of carnival rides coming apart, and then you get on the ride and it's the best thing you've never experienced. You excited, you screaming, you hollering, you got your hands up in the air. And it's just a wonderful thing because that fear is also excitement. So when we look at fear as excitement, we can kind of move forward through it. If you, again, using the raise example, if you nervous, you afraid to ask your boss for a raise, think of it as excitement. Think of it as excitement and anticipation that you might be able to make some more money. And when you look at it that way, you're more apt to go for it. So fear can equal excitement. Another thing, fear, like I said before, it's a indicator. Fear is an indicator of what you should be or should not be doing. And let it push you forward. Let that fear, when that fear comes up, be like, hey, okay, this means I need to move forward on something. This means I'm procrastinating on something that I need or want to do. This means what is it that I'm afraid of? Like, what is really bothering me about doing this? Is it fear of success? Is it fear of failing? Is it fear of looking stupid? Is it fear of what else? Fear of loss. These are basic fears that everybody has, that these are things that keep people from going after their dreams. And when we look at the motivations of our fears, when we look at the origins, we can kind of get a better understanding of how to get past it. Like, say you're afraid, I'm gonna keep using this. Say you're afraid of standing up to others. You're afraid of standing up to people at your workplace, right? You got to think about, well, where did this come from? Where did this fear originate? You look back into your childhood and you realize, oh, well, my mother or my father was abusive. Whenever I tried to defend myself, I get met with more criticism, or I get hit or beat, or whatever the case may be, and eventually I developed a response to avoid or attack or, whatever, or I chose to avoid conflict in the future. And that's why I'm afraid of this. You got to really, you got to break down your fears, break them down into into their origin. Come back to where this fear originally came from. For a long time, I was afraid of conflict. I was afraid to stand up to people because of, you know, abuse and belittlement from family members. I was always met with disciplinarian. I had a bunch of disciplinarians in my family, and whenever I would go to make a point, it would be shut down, or it would be guided into something else. And it eventually led to me just not speaking up for myself and not being vulnerable, or not speaking my mind when I needed to. And it just led to more trouble. So yeah, fear. Just look at the origin of it, see where it's come from, see where the fear originated, and work to undo those things. Condition your mind, tell yourself that this is not that reality anymore. And you're living in a new now, and it doesn't need to be disrupted by your past. It doesn't need to be disrupted by your past. And yeah, that's mainly it. Just look at the origins of your fear. Realize that fear can equal excitement. Fear can be excitement masked by doubt. Fear can be used to your advantage. Fear builds character. Fear can build your character past what you would build if you had no fear at all. So remember that. And if you want to grow more, feel free to subscribe. Y'all have a nice day.